This is Stephen Boyle. I'm with DCATS, the Detroit Coalition Against Tar Sandstone, speaking here with Sherry Griswold. Hi,
How are
Sherry.
you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So today we went to the Detroit Public Health and Safety Committee meeting,
Yes.
and we spoke with the representatives that were there. How did you feel the discussion went?
I think it went good, but it could have been a little more brought out so they would see the broad section of everything we're dealing with. Because in that short of time, you don't have a lot of time to tell them.
So we didn't really go to the table. All we got was like a 2-minute
Exactly.
comment period.
Exactly.
Okay. And in speaking with council afterwards, we were talking about how contracts are usually what brings people to the table. So it needs to become a line item when we go up there. So tell me a little bit about your story as to who is Sherry Griswold and why should our viewers be interested in what's going on in your life?
I've been a Detroiter for many years, and I loved a lot of the people that live there. And when the marathon kind of moved into the backyard, I thought, okay, more jobs for people in Detroit, but I didn't see that.
So when did you move into the house?
2001?
2001? Okay. And then, but Marathon wasn't like right there. I mean,
No.
this expansion that Marathon's done started up, when was it? 2005, 7, 8? What was that? I think it was 2008 is when they started their
Yes.
construction.
Yes.
What they call their Detroit Heavy Oil Upgrade Project.
Right.
The DHOOP, we were going to call it something. So this delay, what it consists of is a delayed coker that takes the heavy crude oil from the pipelines that are coming in through Enbridge, basically, is the people that are delivering the crude into the system. And that pipeline's coming across the state of Michigan right now, and delivering some of that into Marathon's refinery. And I've seen a recent paper say that it was 112,000 barrels per day that they were processing at present. It's debatable how much, you read different sources, you get different information. That happened to be out of Bloomberg. And they have reporters coming from other sources that are reporting into Bloomberg too. So what happened in 2008 was they started construction,
Right.
and you didn't choose to move next to it. It chose to move next to you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear that there was going to be
I
construction?
heard that they were going to add on to the refinery, but they never said where. And till I started hearing the big steel pillars being driven into the ground. And it was to the point where when you were in your house, your head just kind of, every time it hit, and when I would ask what that was, they would never tell me. They said all it was is something to make more money for the Detroiters. That's not true.
Okay.
The only one that got jobs were the security guards from Detroit, as far as I can see.
Well, so from 2008 to 2012, they built it, and according to the documents I've been looking at with DCATS, we've got a petition that was sent to the state of Michigan to start up operations. This petition was from January, saying that they were going to start in the fourth quarter of 2012. So that petition was based on some theoretical numbers as to what their emissions would be and what their processes would be, because they didn't have practical experience with what they were building.
Oh, definitely not.
So now, the 2012 November, they started things up, and when they started things up, can can you remember back like a year and a half ago?
Oh, definitely.
Only a year and a half ago.
I'm the one that spent the most time in the backyard because that was me and my dog's time. And when he was prowling around, chasing my groundhogs and my rabbits, I'd let him play and I would do all the weeding. And it just got to the point where it changed and I started, when they finally started it up, it was like started up at a slow pace. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because I have a low immune system, it attacked me. And nobody at first would believe me. You know, I kept saying, I have to wash my face 4 times a day. What is this stuff? And they're like, oh, it's probably salt. I said, no, this burns me. This is hurting me.
So there's salt, you're saying there's a salt mine
Oh, yeah.
next to the home too.
Definitely.
And
Would blow all over. I mean, every one of our doors to our garages, everything is actually rusted out.
okay, so the salt is created the atmosphere. You wind up having to
Exactly.
drink a lot of water and get dehydrated all the time.
The whole block does. That was one thing that we all came together and everyone asked the other person, does it affect your drinking
Yeah.
fluids? I'm like, 2 to 3.
That's just the salt mine, right?
Yeah, that's just a salt mine. But
That was there back in 2001.
well, it got worse when they started up with Marathon and they released some benzene, which draws all of the water out of the area. Then everybody had the same thing I had. You had bottles of water that you had to slug down. I mean, it's not like a small drink. You have I could go through 2 liters of Diet Coke a day
Okay.
because I just couldn't handle it.
You're parched.
Yeah, and I'm not the only one. Every neighbor said the same thing.
Okay. So you're dealing with a respiratory problem because of the salt. One is drying out your respiratory system, but then you're adding in the chemicals that are coming out of the coking process. It's just the whole refining process.
Right, and the benzene sucks all the air out of the trees, the grass, anything around it. Anything.
So 2012 started up. They started up the delay coker, and as things started up, did you hear anything about petroleum coke on the Detroit River, like in the beginning of 2013 or anything like that?
None at all. I mean, I thought it was a slide. Me and Crystal wanted to go down the slide, you know. We thought, wow, what is
They
this?
were doing something down in Detroit to look like maybe
Yeah,
they were
we
making
could
a
have
slide
fun
up or
on
something
that,
like
you know, and we made
Okay.
jokes about it.
Okay.
But the one thing that I noticed when they started up in the summertime even, the dog, he was like, he had a little bit of lab in him, but the Dalmatian, he had more of that.
Okay.
He would lose so much hair in one day.
So he'd be shedding.
Oh my God, horrifying. I have not even been able to empty my vacuum because it reminds me of him. The vacuum is completely filled in one time, and that was just downstairs.
Were you finding a lot of, when the hair would come out, was it just the follicle or was it like even more?
If you touched it,
Yeah.
it would come out in clumps. And I'm like, you got bare butt fur on you. What is that?
Okay.
You know, and I'd make fun of him, and then I started losing mine. And I have a whole baggie completely filled with all the hair that I've
you've been
lost.
losing. Okay.
Yeah.
And this all really happened in 2013 after the delay coker, which moved in next to you, started
Exactly.
up. Okay. There's some incidents that Marathon's reported in April and May of 2013. Actually, the Attorney General has got a consent order saying that they have to pay for these erroneous activities that they do. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you remember what happened in April and May?
April 27th, they had some, I don't know if it was a hydrogen explosion or nitro. And that's when they evacuated everybody.
Was it tank?
Or no, the tank
Oh, it was a
actually,
tank.
and they say something in the tank just blew. Well, what makes you say the other ones aren't going to do that too? You know, and then I think the worst that hurt me the most is to actually evacuate everybody around us, even across Oakwood.
This was in April when this happened.
Oh yeah, April 27th.
They evacuated all kinds of people. Melvindale, the whole
Yeah.
city of Melvindale was told.
I stood
you know,
in the
they-
street watching them run around in hazmat suits, and one of my neighbors kissed me on the cheek and said, "I hope this isn't goodbye."
And if I remember really, the city council session today, this topic of the evacuation plan for the city of Detroit came up, and the previous fire chief was wanting to address it. However, I remember actually being at the city council session last year, where he said that it was difficult to create an evacuation plan when you don't know where it's coming from, because the wind moves around.
Oh yeah, we can
So
tell
you
when
never
it's
know.
hitting us. We can tell when it's going into Lincoln Park.
Right.
We can tell when it goes to Melvindale.
Okay.
You know, like last night, it went to Melvindale, so we actually didn't feel the burning so bad on the face and stuff like that. But we can just look at it and tell. But they're starting it up too high. They need to slow it back down. Something bad's gonna happen.